Okay. See, so the first defect will always be new. Next, reproduct defect. Reproduct defect. Reproduct defect. Next, defect report. Fix defect. Resolve defect. Reopen defect. Close. Here, fix in the sense, he may accept it, he may reject it, he may defer. We'll call it as a deferred. Deferred. Right? Deferred. Now, accept in the sense, the developer is going to accept and is going to resolve the process. He's going to resolve the process. So, if he is accepting, he is going to resolve it, send to the tester. Tester is going to reopen it, and again, he is going to do the retesting. He's going to do the retesting. If the developer finds that is going to reject it, if he reject it, automatically go to the tester. Tester is going to do the reopen. Again, he's going to reopen and is going to do the retesting. If the developer finds that is not a minor issue, then the developer can resolve, then automatically he can close the process. He can close the process. So, detect defect, reproduct defect, defect report, fix defect, resolve, reopen. Fix. So, first defect status will always be new. The first defect will always be, status will be new. The status will be new. Defect report. The reproduct is nothing but same issue is repeating for number of stages. In that case, we are going to generate the report for the issue and we are going to send to the developer. So develop based on that, he may accept it, he may reject it, he may be deferred. This is the overall structure of your defect life cycle. We'll call it as a defect life cycle. There are many ways where we can generate the reports by using IEEE format or by using ISO standards. So here we already written the test cases for defect report using IEEE format, right? IEEE format. So what is the procedure for preparing the defect report is defect report using IEEE 829 format. Institute of Electric and Electronic Engineering format. Institute of Electric and Electronic Engineering format. The first one would be, what is the defect ID? The first one would be defect ID. Unique number or name. So DF001, unique number. Second one, name of the defect. Why it's been failed. Window application. What is the name of that window? Next, description. So we are going to describe what is the failure cases. So what we are going to test. Next, if yes, if you find any issues, we are going to take the screenshot and we are going to give the description and we are going to give the test case Excel sheets, whatever the documentation, we need to mention all those things in your class. If you don't find any issue, then we'll take it as a, and we'll send it as a minor issue. It is not a like spelling mistake or wrong alignment or improper color alignment, color position of your window, size of that window size, that will come under minor issues. If no, next, detected by whom, who is going to detect? Name of the tester. Who is going to detect is name of the tester. Tester is going to detect it. Next, detected on. Next one is detected on. On which date? On which date is being detected? On which date is being detected? Next, reported to. Reported to. To whom you are going to report? Developer, name of the developer. Next, reported on. Reported on. On which date we are going to report to the developer? Next, attachments. Attachments. Summary. Summary. Next, comments, extra comments. All these will come under defect report. Defect ID, name of the defect, description, if yes, no, detected by, detected on, priority reported to whom you are going to report, On which date we are going to report it? Attachments, summary, comments. And one more things, two more elements are the most important is, next one is priority and severity. We call it as a priority. Priority and severity. These are the most important things which comes under reporting. What is the difference between priority and severity? Priority in the sense with respect to client, we always be called as a priority. Importance of defect with respect to client is called as a priority. Seriousness of defect with respect to tester, is known as severity, with respect to client is called as a priority. I mean that importance of defect with respect to client is called as a priority. Seriousness of defect with respect to tester is known as severity. So based upon the priority, the severity exists. But based on the severity, the priority may or may not exist. So priority, for example, client wants to work on login window. That is the first priority. What he wants to find? Username and password. If the tester finds that the login window, that like a username is not working out, he will set it as a high severity and send to the developer to resolve this username immediately. So that is high severity. With respect to tester to the developer is severity. With respect to client is a priority. So example, login window is the high priority. Under that, for example, if username is not working, then what we'll do? We are sending this username to the developer and will set as a high severity to release this to resolve this username immediately. So that is a high severity. So based on the priority, the severity exists. But based on the severity, the priority may or may not exist. May or may not exist. So that's the difference between priority and severity. Okay. So these are the contents which are present in your defect report. So defect ID, name of the defect, description, if yes, no, detected by, report priority, detected on, reported to, reported on, attachments, summary, comments, and the last one is severity. These are all the contents present in your defect report. So this is done. Once based upon the defect report, now we are sending this defect report to the developer. How we are going to send this to the developer? There is a procedure for sending out. Depending upon your company standards, if they follow, some web mails are there. Or else we may have some reporting tools are there. Or else we may have bug tracking tools are there. Using those tools, you can send all these reports to the developer. So either Excel sheet or test management tool, or by using bug tracking tool, you can send this data to the developer itself. Okay. So these are the contents present in your defect report. So have you noted down all these things? Defect ID, name, description, if yes, no, detected by, priority, detected on, reported to, reported on, attachments. So attachments is, so it's like Excel sheet, test cases, Excel sheets, documentation, screenshots, everything we need to attach it. Summary, step-by-step procedure, why it's been failure. We see here one more most important is defect ID. Where what you're going to do is, in the defect ID, which test case is being failure. For example, test case G, third test case has been failure. We need to mention your test case with which defect report? DF001. So test case 3 with first report. So this is called as traceability matrix. We called as a traceability matrix. We called as traceability matrix. So mapping of development stages to the testing issue is called as traceability matrix, or we can also call testing approach. We'll call it as a testing approach. So which test case has been failure and what report, what is the ID of your report, which report we are going to generate. So now this is called traceability matrix. So now here's summary. We need to give your overall failure steps. What are the why it's been failure? We need to give step-by-step procedures. Comments. If you require any extra functionalities like color of the window, size of the window, alignment, overlapping, all these things, that we need to mention your steps. So that comes under comment. So all this comes under defect report using IEEE 829 format. Now, levels versus builds. We'll call it as a levels versus builds. At what level, what kind of testing we are going to do? At what level, what kind of testing we are going to do? So for that, so we already discussed about what is the difference between a priority and severity. So importance of defect with respect to client will always be called priority, and the seriousness of defect will always be called as a, with respect to test will always be called as a severity. Here, the first, there are 4 levels are there. Level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3. First initial build, we are getting the build from the developer, initial build. So once you get the initial build from the developer, in the level 0, we are going to check all P0 test cases. All P0 test cases. That P0 is nothing but basic functionalities. We are going to check usability, user interface. We already discussed in the black box testing. Alignment, overlapping, color of the window, size of the window, links enabled or disabled, buttons enabled or disabled. Those things we are going to mention in your P0 test case. Nothing but basic functionalities. Once you get the initial build from the developer, in the level 0, we are going to check all P0 test cases. Nothing but UI test cases. That becomes if you are going to check all the basic functionalities on the initial build, that becomes as a stable build. That becomes as a stable build, or we can also call it as a sanity testing. We call it as a sanity testing. Stable build or sanity testing. So on the initial build, the testers are going to check all basic functionalities, which is nothing but UI test cases. That becomes as a stable build or sanity testing. Next, in the level 1, we are going to check. Within 10 minutes is going to close, again relogin. Okay. In the level 1, the testers are going to check all P0, P1, all P0, P1, P2 as batches. వీళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారంటే బ్యాచెస్ గా గ్రూప్ గా ఒకేసారి నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ టెస్ట్ కేస్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తారు. So what kind of test case they are going to execute? They are going to execute all PI test cases, functionality test cases, regression test cases, retesting test cases. All P0 basic functionalities, P1 general functionalities, P2 cosmetic functionalities. General, all P0 basic functionalities, general functionalities, and cosmetic functionalities. General ante UI test cases, basic ante UI test cases, general ante functionalities, cosmetic ante it may be retesting or regression testing. ఇవన్నీ వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారు, దే గోయింగ్ టు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ యాజ్ ఎ బ్యాచెస్ అంటే గ్రూప్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తుంటారు. వేర్ దే ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్, దే ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ ఇన్ ఎ ఫంక్షన్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ ఏ test log. We'll call it as a test log. Where they're going to execute? They're going to execute in a test log, LOG, test log. In the test log, there are three contents present in the test log. One is called as a pass, fail, and the third one is critical or block or showstopper. Pass ante expected value is equal to actual value. Fail ante expected value is not equal to actual value. Block or showstopper or critical means until the developer is not resolved, tester cannot go into the next phase. For example, now username, one login window, for example, username is not working out. If the username is not working out, you cannot go for password. You cannot, even if you click on OK button, automatically invalid login, re-login, login failed and message వస్తుంటాయి. అప్పుడు ఏమంటాం దాన్ని critical, block or showstopper. Until unless the developer is not been resolved the username, you cannot click on the login button or you cannot go to the next page. That is critical, block or showstopper. So ఈ టెస్ట్ లాగ్ ఏమేమింటే ఒకటి పాస్, ఇంకోటి ఫెయిల్, థర్డ్ వన్ క్రిటికల్ ఆర్ showstopper, STOPPR, showstopper. Pass is expected value is equal to actual value. Fail is expected value is not equal to actual value. Block or critical or showstopper means until unless the developer is not resolved, the tester cannot go into the next phase. That is a problem. So in this level 1, if any mismatches arise and the expected value is not equal to the actual value, now we are going to send this to the we are going to send this to the developer. We are going to send this to the developer. What the developer will do, developer is going to identify them and they are going to resolve it. Once you get the modified build, we are going to do the retesting. On the modified build. So initial build becomes the stable build. The stable build becomes as a comprehensive build. This is called comprehensive build. The comprehensive build becomes as a retesting build. Finally, they are going to do the regression testing. So initial build, stable build, comprehensive build, retesting, regression. So in the initial build, if you are going to check all basic functionalities, that becomes as a sanity or stable build. Next, in the stable build, if any mismatches arises, we are sending to the developer. Developer is going to resolve it. And once you get the modified build, we are going to do the retesting. And finally, this is level 1. This is a level 2. In the level 2, we are going to do the retesting build. And in the level 3, we are going to do the regression testing. So you may ask me, sir, what is the difference between regression testing and retesting? In the retesting, if you find any issues, if you have been concentrating only on the issue part and we are going to test it, whatever the affected is being part in your application, if you test that element, that is called retesting. If you are going to check the entire application along with your modification part, that is called regression testing. So how many types of builds we are having? Initial build, stable build, comprehensive build, retesting build, regression build. Total is 4 builds. Level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3. All these are level 1, level 2, level 3. These are the levels versus builds. So what kind of build we are getting? what kind of testing we need to do. This is entire part of your levels versus builds. What is it? Levels versus builds. I've designed that and you try to write those things. Level 0. Level 0. Next. So what are you going to do? All P0 test cases. We are going to check all your P0 test cases. That becomes as a sanity build or stable build. We call it as a sanity build or stable build. Next, in the level 1, we are going to do all P0 comma P1 comma P2 as batches. We are going to execute sequentially. We are going to check all your test cases sequentially. So if you are going to execute all the test cases sequentially, that is called as a test suite. We'll call it as a test suite. Test suite. Sequential execution of multiple test cases is known as test suite. We'll call it as a test suite. That becomes as a comprehensive build. That becomes as a comprehensive build. And in this comprehensive build, if you find any mismatches, now we are sending to the developer. Developer is going to resolve it. Now we are in the modified build. Once you get the modified build, if you are going to recheck it, modified build, recheck. That becomes as a retesting build. That becomes as a retesting build. That becomes as a retesting build. The last one is level 3. In the level 3, we are going to check the whole application, entire application, along with modifications. Is known as regression testing or complete or master build complete or master build. So this is the